Uprising. I want to bring in our Wolf Blitzer from Washington. Wolf, just a couple of minutes ago, you had a chance to talk with the leader of Jordan about what is taking place in the neighboring country. What is his biggest concern? How does he see this going down?
He's deeply, deeply concerned, King Abdullah II of Jordan, Suzanne. He's very worried about what's going on. He wants the Syrian President Bashar al-Assad, as you know, to leave, to relinquish power. He thinks that's the only solution there. We had this exchange, though, because it's been more than a year since he personally spoke with the Syrian president. Listen to this. What would you like to say directly to the Syrian leader?
Well, I believe that we're getting to the point, I'm looking at it from the point of view of the mosaic of the Syrian people. I'm seeing for the first time, and have been watching this for the past 2 or 3 weeks, where the sectarian violence has begun to appear to a point where different groups of Syrian society is having a go at each other, to a point where we are getting to the level of the potential of full-out civil war. In other words, it's getting very, very messy, to a point where I think the worst-case scenario for all of us in the region is when you get full-out civil war, there is no coming back from the abyss. Syria is far more complicated than Iraq and other countries in the area. The different minorities, actually, put them all together, they make the majority, is unlike any of the other countries in the Levant and the Arab Peninsula. If it breaks down, if civil order breaks down to the point of no return, then it'll take years to fix Syria. And I have a feeling that we're seeing the signs of that over the past 3 weeks. The only people that can bring us back from that brink is obviously the president and the regime. And I believe this is the last chance that they have.
And he also is extremely, Suzanne, concerned, as is the U.S. Defense Secretary Leon Panetta and other Obama administration officials, about the chemical weapons stockpiles that exist in various locations inside Syria. If, in fact, he says, if Bashar al-Assad's regime starts using poison gas or sarin or mustard gas, any of these chemical weapons, what he calls weapons of mass destruction, all bets are off. As a result, in terms of military intervention, the international community would have to deal with that. The fact, Suzanne, that he is not necessarily even ruling out the possibility that Bashar al-Assad could potentially use chemical weapons against his own people, that was eye-opening to me to hear King Abdullah say that that would be for all practical purposes, a huge, huge game changer in this entire equation. He wants Bashar al-Assad to leave and leave as quickly as possible.
Wolf, did he mention at all about his own country's participation, along with some of the others, when you talk about Lebanon, Iraq, and Saudi Arabia, of actually providing a route for weapons, providing weapons to the rebels, and whether or not the Arab League would do more in terms of military intervention?
He's very concerned about weapons getting into the wrong hands in Syria, and he did say bluntly there are pockets of al-Qaeda elements in Syria working there right now as well. The last thing he or anyone else wants is to see some of those weapons wind up in the hands of al-Qaeda. That's a further complicating factor. He says, you know, you can send weapons in, but do you have the right address where they're going to wind up? So he's concerned about that. He did say to me, when I asked him if there were any serious differences between the position of his government in Jordan, the position of the United States, the Obama administration, he basically said that the U.S. and Jordan were on the same page. And as you know, our own Barbara Starr recently was in Jordan, watched some major training exercises unfold. The U.S. and about 15, 16 other countries were involved. Some 12,000 troops were involved in training exercises, which all of us assumed would be useful if, in fact, it gets down to that kind of military intervention in Syria. So it was a fascinating interview, I must say. We're going to obviously run the whole thing in the Situation Room later today.
We'll be keeping an eye on it. We'll be sure to watch. Thank you, Wolf. Appreciate it.
Thank you.